Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt your daily YouTube viewing with some breaking news, Nathan.
Yeah, this is something we didn't quite expect because it's more intense than, well, we expected.
Yes, it is. Chevy just dropped the brand new 2022 Chevy Silverado, and well, there are significant changes, Nathan. In this video, we are going to go over all of them. We're going to take a deep dive into what Chevy is doing and what they've been listening to, because it seems like they've been listening to their customers.
Yeah, it's taken a little while to get there, but now they've got some new stuff. And then we're not just talking about a tweaked face or, maybe a new transmission or something like that. No. We're talking about more power. We're talking about more off-road capability. We're talking about an all-new truck. All that stuff is right here.
Now, if you guys want to get some first-hand, hands-on video of the new ZR2, Nathan. I just said it, ZR2. Can you believe that?
Unbelievable.
Silverado, ZR2. They finally did it. They finally did a competitor to what's been, going on in the off-road world for a long time. Not quite a Raptor, but nevertheless a significant step forward in off-road trucks for Chevy. Go on over to TFL Truck because Andre got hands-on with the truck.
That's right. Now we're going to tell you a few details about the ZR2 1500 right here. But once again, over at TFL Truck is where Andre actually gets his paws on one.
Yeah, so if you guys head over there, do it after this video.
Because we got more. We have more than just the ZR2.
And of course, if you guys are interested in catching up on all of TFL news, just go to TFL-studios.com where we post our latest videos, podcasts, and news. So let's start. And the question that Zach has written here is the ZR2 a trail boss on steroids, Nathan?
I think that's exactly the way I would put it, because we're not talking about something that is a direct rival to a TRX or to a Raptor. However, for the slightly lower versions of those vehicles, yes, this is a real competitor, and it's got some pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, let's go over it very quickly before we get to the other big news, which of course is interior and engines on the new Silverado.
Yep.
So let's kind of hit the high points here. First, a unique front end, a flow tie, Nathan, badge.
Yeah, instead of a bow tie, it's actually just hollow, so that way there's better air intake. I guess it makes sense.
So, of course, ZR2 badging, 18-inch wheels, and standard, Nathan, is the 6.2 V8. That's Chevy's big boy V8, 420 horsepower, made it to the 10-speed automatic.
Yep, and the Multimatic DSSV spool valve dampeners. Now, these are very similar to the ones that are used in the Colorado ZR2.
Formula One tech.
Formula One tech. Now, we can attest, after taking one off-road many times, it's a very good beginning to an excellent suspension system.
A lot of the competitors use, obviously, Fox suspension.
Yep.
And, of course, Bilstein. So it's cool that, Chevy is doing something different.
Yeah, and we'll see how it works over the rocks in the near future, because we are going to be driving one, I guarantee it. Now, this has according to them, the uniquely tuned springs for better suspension travel than the Trail Boss, and the front and rear have electric lockers.
Dude, yes. That sounds very familiar. What other truck has that?
Gee, the baby Colorado ZR2 has
Actually,
that too.
Come to think of it, there's only one other truck besides the Colorado ZR2 that has front and rear lockers.
Yeah, and that would be the Jeep. Well, no, also the Power Wagon if you go to the 2500. But
so in that segment,
yeah.
So let me think about it. So in the midsize segment, it's only the Colorado and the Jeep.
Yep.
Gladiator. In the full-size segment, I believe this is the only one that has a front locker.
Yeah, the other ones, there's Torsen, and there's, I can't think of another, because the TRX doesn't have an actual, electric locker.
And in the HD trucks, it's got to be the Power Wagon.
Yeah, wow. So General Motors may have actually gone and done something that nobody else is really doing, meaning that this off-road could actually compete with the big boys like the TRX and Raptor, which would be really cool. Let's go on.
Well, you're a little down on horsepower.
Compared to the TRX, still 420 is pretty damn good.
Yeah, Raptor's 450, so yeah, give or take, yeah. I wish, I hate saying this, I wish they would have gone just a little bit more horsepower.
Yeah, a supercharger would have been nice, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, so we've got terrain mode, which allows for more precise, get this, one-pedal rock crawling.
Yeah, which I think what they're basically saying is that you don't have to apply the brake as you're slowly going over rocks. It'll actually pull everything down and maybe retard the power, which I think is a good idea. We'll see when we drive it. And there's more.
It's rolling on 33s.
Yeah, 33s. The factory lift and the mud terrain tires, it helps improve the clearance and offers up to 31.8 degrees approach angle. That is really good really good, actually.
Yeah, and a unique skid plate package and new front bumper. Anyway, you can see all that. Andre crawled under the truck. He got his hands on it. Head on over to TFL Truck, and you can see everything about the new ZR2. I think it's a game changer for GM. It's about time that they were playing with the big boys.
It's 2 years too late in my book.
2 years too late?
I think it's 2 years too late. But let's move on, because there are a lot of other changes that go on throughout the entire line of 1,500 pickup trucks from General Motors.
All right, let's talk about the interior. There's one catch. We'll get to that in a bit. But the revamped 2020 Chevy Silverado 1500 finally gets an updated infotainment system. That's something all of you guys and all of you GM guys and gals have been hoping for.
That's right. Now, in the Silverado, it's a 13.4 infotainment display. 13.4 inch, I should say. Chevrolet says it's the largest infotainment system in the segment.
Yeah, now in trucks with Google built in, dude. It comes standard with Google.
Okay, fair enough.
And that includes Google Assistant, Google Maps, Google Play, and all of that is in the system because you still get Android Auto and Apple CarPlay as well as Amazon Alexa. Holy cow, that's a lot of stuff. I almost said a dirty word, sorry.
Yeah. It also comes with a 12.3 inch configurable digital infotainment cluster.
Yeah.
So that's right. That's really big. That's right in the center. So
I mean, looking at that thing, it looks huge.
Yeah, and bear in mind that this is replacing what we thought was really old-looking tech. So they've definitely done a leap, in some cases over some of the competitors, to get to this point. Let's continue.
Yeah, GM's rear camera mirror, digital rearview mirror, and heads-up display are available on certain trims.
I actually really like the digital mirror, and I think it really works well when you're going off-road and also when you have passengers in the back.
Now, this is big news, Nathan. The updated Silverado also gets, you ready for it?
Yeah, hit it.
Super Cruise.
Super Cruise, and it's Super Cruise you can use with a trailer.
Really?
Yep.
Super Cruise you can use with the trailer. So you can tow using an autonomous...
Semi-autonomous system.
Yeah.
Right. Now, for those of you who don't know, General Motors Super Cruise system, which initially came out with Cadillac, is a semi-autonomous highway system that has mapped the majority of the highways in the United States, and I believe even Canada as well. And it allows you to drive somewhat hands-free using a LiDAR system, general map information, and also, all the high-end map information. And then on top of that, all the other stuff that you would have, including radar and all that, to allow you to cruise on the highway. Now, initially that wasn't something that you could do with the trailer. Now you can.
So specifically, it comes on the top-end high country trim, Nathan, and it adds hands-free driving capability on more than 200,000 miles of roads in the U.S. and Canada.
Precisely. Oh, and Canada, so I was right about that.
Yeah, and then for more towing, a trailer blind zone alert monitors a trailer's blind spot, like Ford's blind spot infotainment system, and Ram's as well, right? They both do that. I love that system.
Yeah, the one in the Ram is pretty good. I actually prefer it on the smaller screen. So this is an interesting compromise, and it's going to be different, I think, than the Rams in terms of function.
All right, Nathan, there are also other big changes in the 2022 Silverado. Let's talk about those.
Yep, and so one of the things you guys are going to be faced with is a new electronically controlled console shifter. No more column-mounted shifter on models with the new interior.
What do you think of that?
I'm not sure. I have to actually try it and see how it feels in hand.
Yeah, I'm kind of a big fan of the column shifter. There's just something so natural about like jumping in a truck and just going boom, right?
Right. Well, column shifter.
That's the noise you make, right?
Boom. No, instead of click, click, or boop, boop. There's all the other noises. One of the things about column shifters that's nice is that usually that opens up the floorway so you can have 3 people up front. So we'll have to see whether or not they keep column shifters on the base models. There's no mention of it here. But we do have information about the high country.
Yep, it gets new open pore wood trim on the console, upper glove box, and all the doors. So I guess that's
exfoliated.
Yeah, a woody interior.
Standard leather seats with custom perforation, I should say, and stitching, and that's including stainless steel speaker grills for the Bose audio system, which also comes on the LTZ.
And then 2 more interior color combinations: jet black or night shift blue.
Okay, but there's a catch.
What's the catch, Nathan?
New interiors are only available on the LT and above models, and it comes standard on the LT, RST, LT, Trail Boss, ZR2, LTZ, and High Country models.
That's a lot of models, dude.
Yeah.
That is a lot of models. All right, let's talk about the styling updates. The 2022 Chevy Silverado changes up the design we've been seeing in the past couple of years, which has been
closed fist
into the wind.
That's what they some people have been calling it. Yeah,
the designer said that. He took Tom Peters, I believe. He told me that in person.
Yeah, and
fist in the wind.
I understand where they were going with it, and I think that in certain colors it looks pretty good, but I also think that Ford and Ram look better.
I should say the previous designer. So
yeah,
anyway, let's keep going. Refreshed front fascia on all models with their appropriate grills, of course. So if getting the High Country, get a different one than if you're getting the RST. Mesh grill with a flow tie on the ZR2, chromed out grill on the High Country, and so on. And guess what? New daytime running lights, Nathan.
Yeah, now this is what I think wakes up and changes the grill, because you definitely see the different headlight design and those daytime running lights, which kind of remind me a little bit of Nissan, but still it's different, and it just, I would say it makes the grill unique enough to where you can instantly tell the difference between this new model and the old models.
Now, it's got this new thing that's becoming popular in the automotive world, and that is an animated walk up and walk away display function, sweeping turn signals depending on which trim you get. Basically, the truck greets you and then says goodbye.
Yeah, that's interesting. I really think it's unnecessary, but then again, there are some people out there who will actually get a kick out of that.
You know who's doing a lot of that? The electric vehicles are doing, like Volkswagen does a lot of that.
Oh yeah, where they wake up and look at you and actually,
they do all kinds of.
Actually, that might be comforting on a stormy night when you're walking alone. I guess that's what they actually had out there in their press material.
They should get a truck that winks at you.
That would be pretty cool. Winks or gives you a thumbs up. It's manly. Hey, it's good to see you.
Or flexes.
Hey, there you go. Come on. No, it's a little much, but still, here's the big stuff. Let's get to the big information, and that's the powertrains.
Yeah. So we got the same engine options as before, but there are a couple of major changes. You want to go into it?
Yeah. Well, for one thing, your engines start with the 2.7-liter turbo. We'll get to that in a minute. That is really different. 3-liter Duramax diesel. That also gets an upgrade. And then the 5.3-liter V8 and the 6.2-liter V8 seem to have about the same stuff as before. So let's go on to the 2.7-liter turbo. That is now your base engine, and it is paired exclusively with the 8-speed automatic transmission.
Yeah, the rest of them get the 10-speed. So here's a big change in the 2.7, and they're really pushing it. Get this. So they strengthened the engine and gave it substantially more torque. How much, Nathan?
All right. 420 pounds.
Out of a four-cylinder.
Out of a four-cylinder turbo, 310 horsepower. Now, just to put this into perspective, the Hemi V8 puts out 410 pound-feet of torque. The 2.7-liter EcoBoost V6 puts out 400 pound-feet of torque, and their 2.3-liter EcoBoost i4, that currently puts out 310 pound-feet of torque. So going back to this, 420 pound-feet of torque out of a 2.7-liter four-cylinder turbo. That is impressive.
That's 72 more torques than before.
Yeah, it was 20% more or something like that, 40% more?
Yeah, more torque than any base engine in the full-size class. Now, don't confuse that with Ford's 2.7 EcoBoost. That's a 2.7-liter six-cylinder.
V6, exactly, which once again puts out 400 foot-pounds of torque. So the bottom line here for this engine is it is extremely powerful for its weight class, meaning it's going to be a lot more competitive, and I'm curious to see if they put it in other vehicles. But anyway, that in itself is newsworthy, but there's more.
Yeah, now the 3-liter Duramax diesel still puts out 277 pound horsepower and 460 pound-foot of torque. But, Nathan, go for it.
Yeah, they've increased its towing to 13,300 pounds.
4,000 pounds more.
That is a huge leap. Once again, to put it in perspective, Ford, who is still producing the Power Stroke in their 150s, that's 11,500 pounds max for Ford and 12,560 pounds max for Ram. Once again, it depends on the configuration, but this is way more than both of those.
Yeah, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't say that right now GM is not actually building or selling the 3-liter Duramax because of the chip shortage.
Yeah, but this is what they're putting out there. And if they're putting this out for us to tell you guys, that means eventually when the truck hits the market, it's going to have a significant upgrade over and capability over the competitors.
And given that Ford kind of killed their diesel, really it's now one of two full-size trucks with a diesel. It's this or obviously the Ram.
Yeah. So General Motors has we've always felt the straight six that they recently produced for their diesel is quite good. This just makes it better. I am curious to find out how it performs in the near future. We will find out Hopefully soon.
So the 2022 Chevy Silverado 1500 lineup will go on sale early 2022. Of course, no pricing yet. And of course, go over to TFL Truck if you want to see a hands-on video with the ZR2. Now, before we wrap this up, I think we need to put a little perspective on this. And I think let's start with the interior changes. Would you agree that Ram has really raised the bar, and I think GM is now having to answer that?
I think that happened a couple of years ago. Actually, back in 2018, when we saw this, the original new Chevy, with its official debut, we saw the interior, and many of you agreed that it was okay. It was better than before. But the problem really was Ram. Ram came along and had this incredible interior right off the bat, and it completely sunk the aspirations, I feel, of General Motors introducing their new interior. Well, that has changed.
Yeah. Now, the other thing that I come away with, from these announcements is, while Ram has raised the bar in interiors, GM has now raised the bar in terms of engine choices, right? I think they're on par with Ford, but if I were Ram, I'd seriously start considering what I'm going to do, because they've got really only two engine choices in their full-size truck, right? They've got the 5.7-liter Hemi, which is old, and they've got the somewhat underpowered, in my opinion, Pentastar, which is also old.
Somewhat. That puts out 269 pound-feet of torque. That is the Pentastar V6, which is their base engine. So, in other words, right now General Motors has absolutely slapped around Ram in terms of torque output just with their four-cylinder engine. That's not counting their larger displacement engines. I think that Ram has to respond right now, or else they're going to be left behind in the dust. So despite all the advancements they've made with interior design and a pretty decent-looking exterior, this is a problem for them.
Now, we have kind of kept Ford out of the conversation, and that's because, of course, Ford kind of marches to their own drummer. Well,
they do, and they've EcoBoost almost everything. The only exception is, of course, the 5-liter Coyote, which is an extraordinary engine. However, that one is kind of pushed off to the side because Ford really wants to market their EcoBoost powertrains.
So we've got basically Chevy stepping up with a much nicer interior, finally meeting the challenge of the off-road world, and certainly laying the hurt down in terms of the engine torque and specs. We've got Ram out there that is, just cranking along, building some of the most stylish, some of the most, I would say, interior-wise at least, luxurious trucks out there, and we've got Ford, that is really working hard to maintain leadership in a climate where no trucks are getting built, or very few are getting built.
Well, that's for now. Hopefully, this will all change.
GM did shut down most of the U.S. factories for the last 2 weeks.
For now, I am optimistic that in the next 6 months we will finally see some return to normalcy. But this is my guess. One thing that we should mention, though, which some of you guys might be wondering, what about Toyota, Nissan? Well, Toyota, we haven't had an official announcement.
Toyota, obviously the new Tundra is coming.
Yeah.
We've got a boatload of news coming. We can't talk about it, obviously, because, but yeah, stay tuned here. There is a lot of Toyota news coming.
Yeah, and Nissan has one powertrain right now, and it's
yeah, but they've got the new Frontier.
Yeah, but we're talking about
full-size trucks.
Full-size trucks here. So there you go, guys. I think we managed to cover this. If you have any questions, put them in the comments down below. We'll definitely read them. I'm looking forward to driving this ZR2.
Before we wrap this up, I can hear the people out there saying, what about the electric trucks?
Oh, yeah.
So electric truck update, just a quick update.
Okay.
Rivian is supposedly shipping trucks out now.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen much of that yet. Once again, chip shortage.
Yep.
The Lightning, of course, has 120,000 reservations, which is, according to Ford, and that's not going to be out till probably realistically sometime next summer.
Yeah, probably.
And then the latest news on the Cybertruck is that they just postponed it. It was supposed to be out at the end of this year. Now
late
they're
2022,
saying
right?
They might be, like the early prototypes might be out at the end of next year. So we're probably not looking at a Cybertruck until 2023.
I would say that's about right.
In real production terms. So that's kind of where the real electric car truck news is at. And of course, the dark horse, which is a dark horse because it's 112,000, is the Hummer GMC electric truck, and that's hopefully coming out sometime this year as well. But stay tuned, we've got more news on that as well. So lots of truck news coming your way, guys.
Yeah, a ton of truck news. So thanks for joining us.
Do you like it?
The design, I have to see it up close to really be sure, but I love the fact they finally built a ZR2 version of the 1500. It took them way too long, and I cannot wait to take this off-road.
Yeah, I agree. All right, see you guys next time, and if you want to keep up on all this news, TFL/studios.com. Ciao.
See ya.